Hey y'all, welcome to another video of Grandpa Jay's Woodworks. Now in the last video, I showed you guys how to make a workbench legs. In this video, I'm going to show you how to do the workbench top. So stay tuned. Okay guys, now that we've got our 4x4s all planed down to try and get them as straight as possible so that they attach together without too many gaps, we're going to now attach the boards. And one of the things that I want to do is I'm going to take a biscuit joiner, go in between each of the boards and put some wood glue down to help secure them. But because wood flexes, that's not going to be enough. So what we need to do is drill some holes all the way through the boards and run these 3-foot 3/4 10 threaded rods through all the boards, and then attach the ends, secure them by putting on this washer and a nut and just screwing it on here. Now I just don't want the nut to be hanging out past the boards and have the chance of somebody getting hung up on it. So I've actually made some recess holes in the wood using this 1.5 inch bit. And that will actually allow us to be able to put the washer and the nut on this rod while being recessed into the wood. So here I've already made some holes. I've got them each on the ends, and the washer will go in here on top of this threaded rod, and then you screw the nut onto the rod and it'll be recessed in the hole. That way there's no way of getting hung up on it. Then I'm going to finish out these holes, and each of the preceding pieces of 4x4, the holes, and that using a 3/4 inch bit just like this one here to run through. Now because my drill press isn't big enough to handle this size of wood, I have here a nice portable drill press. It goes on here and allows your drill to stay straight and come down and make your drill holes. And I will do that in the next segment. So stay tuned. So as I was drilling the holes, as I was checking them along, I found out that it was kind of going at an angle, and I was getting further and further away from the center. So I went back and I was trying to get it to line up correctly. I ended up breaking that portable drill press. Smart thinking that I had, I was able to actually turn my base around backwards, and I can actually use my drill press that I have. It's a tabletop drill press. Now the downside is, as I was setting this up, I also found out that there was a twist in the wood. So we're going to attempt to get some straight holes and that dead center. So be patient with me. See you soon.
Okay, so after many epic fails of trying to drill some straight holes, I've decided that I'm going to go ahead and start up with my glue up. I'm gluing anywhere from 2 boards to 3 together in segments, and then I'm going to drill my holes as straight as possible. Going to run my rods through each section, line up the next section, drill out the holes, and see if I can't get as straight a line as possible. So the holes were a little bit on the tight side and I had a hard time getting the rods through, so I ended up having to hammer them in. Well, as you can tell, I made a mistake. And I had to take it apart, and now I'm drilling the holes, make them a little bit bigger and a little bit straighter so that I can actually get those rods to go through. This was no easy feat. Time to bring out the big guns. And as you can tell, it kept shifting on me, so I had to keep pulling it back towards myself so that I could actually hammer it in some more. I've heard that you can never have too many clamps. I have found this to be particularly true. Okay, so my client actually has a gun machining tool that he would like to have set on top of the workbench where I created a hole and have all the shavings from the machine fall into a drawer. So what I'm doing now is I'm making a platform for this machine to actually sit on so that it can have all the shavings fall into the hole. Now I've also turned the saw blade at a 45-degree angle so that the shavings can actually have a bit of a piece for it to slide down into the drawer underneath the hole. And here I'm going to cut 45s into those platforms so that I can assemble them together to where it makes a square inside of the hole of the bench. Alright, now it's time for the stain. And one of my favorite colors of the stain is called Gunstock. I've used this on several of my projects. It's a very rich type of stain that I thoroughly enjoy. It also makes it to where the grain really pops out. Now I'm putting on my first coat right now, and after I get it on, I let it dry and I put on a second coat just to give it a bit of a darker feel. Now, one of the things that I recommend is that you actually get some heavy-duty kitchen gloves that you usually use for like washing dishes, things like that. Because I've actually used the painters or automotive gloves, and they have a tendency to rip on me, and then I get stain all over my hands and fingers. And I don't particularly like that, so I'm using more of the heavy-duty gloves. Now, as you can tell, I couldn't find the matches to them because I've used these multiple times. So that's why there's two different colors going on. Don't forget to get inside the holes. Now, before I applied the stain, I did do some sanding on the boards. I must have either not photographed that or I just forgot to put it in the video. But I started off with an 80 grit. I sanded it all down, and then I went back in with a 220 just to make it a bit smoother. Now here, I'm starting to actually assemble those platform pieces for that machine to sit on. Got to make sure that they're level. Oh man, I'm using the wrong size bit. I gotta make sure I have the right size in order to do this job correctly. Ah, finally. So now, let's apply some poly. This is a 3x poly that I'm using. It's a high gloss, which will make it shine very well. Now, I did apply this twice, so it makes it very durable.
Well, that's it for the tabletop video. Thanks for joining me. Now, as you can see from the multiple wardrobe changes, that this process took quite a while, and it wasn't that easy. So next up, we're going to be making the drawers and assembling all the components to finish up this workbench. So we'll see you next time. Stay tuned.